Today on Sports Central, we go over 5 reasons why the Georgia Bulldogs are going to win the national championship game next season, and why this team is going to go all the way in the 2021 season. And Georgia is a team with a tremendous amount of potential going into next year. I mean, with JT Daniels, with the amount of potential on the defensive side in general, this team is definitely capable of a deep run next season, and why that is what we're going over here today. We're going to be going over 5 reasons here today. They're going to be in no particular order, and that means that we're going to go in and get started with number 1, which is going to be JT Daniels. Obviously your quarterback for next season, and last season he didn't really get to play at the start of last year, obviously because of an injury, but he only played for like 4 or 5 games for Georgia last season, and when he did play, he was undefeated as the starter, if that tells you anything. And JT Daniels is definitely a quarterback that I could say, or I could easily see being a top 2, even the best quarterback in the SEC next year. Put up 1,200 yards, 10 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, also a 67% completion rate for the Bulldogs in the later parts of last season. Also beat Cincinnati, of course, in the Peach Bowl, so you can't forget about that. Huge amount of upside going to next season, and JT Daniels brings a ton of potential to this team. I really like this player a lot, and I definitely think, if he can just stay healthy and stay away from the injuries, this is definitely a quarterback to watch out for. Number 2 is going to be the experience for Georgia, and this team is returning the majority of key players from last season, which is a huge thing for any team. If you're returning a lot of talent, that can take you a long ways in any season. And I think the experience for Georgia is going to be a huge factor, just because this team has got the experience of winning a New Year's Six bowl game. They beat Cincinnati last year, and I think this team is going to be highly motivated next season. If you don't remember, this team actually missed the SEC championship game because of Florida. Florida was a team that obviously beat them out last season, and that's definitely going to be this team's motivation for next season, is to beat out Florida and win that SEC East first off. But I definitely think this team is capable of that because of the experience. There's going to be some great leadership on this team, I can guarantee you. And they improved a ton over the course of the 2020 season as well. Don't forget about that. That can come to be a huge impact, as that gives your team a ton of momentum for the next season. And honestly, I would say this team definitely is probably got the most experienced roster of all of the SEC teams next season. Alabama obviously is a very talented team, but they're not very experienced. Georgia is a team that's going to be very experienced next season. This will be more of the veteran team, I'd say, out of the SEC next year. So that's another reason to really watch out for Georgia next year. But number 3, the recruitment for this team is outstanding. They got the 4th best recruiting class for the 2021 season. I think 2022 is even better for this team. But 2021 right now is looking outstanding for this team. They got, 4 outstanding recruits, especially as you can see in the notable names section. You got Amarius Mims, offensive tackle, who is one of the best in the nation. I know he's the best in the state of Georgia, but he put up a .9958 rating going into next season, which is an outstanding rating. It's out of a 1 scale, so basically he's that close to being a max recruit. You also got Brock Vandegrift, a quarterback. He's probably going to be backing up, I'd say, JT Daniels next season. Then of course you got Xavier Sori, if I'm pronouncing that right. He's also going to be an outstanding recruit. They got 2 great linebackers coming in, both 5 stars. Watch out for this team. There's a ton of potential here, and I think Georgia definitely, recruiting wise, is one of the best in the SEC. Number 4 is going to be Zamir White, your running back. He was one of the best running backs in the SEC last season. Extremely underrated. You don't really hear much about him. You hear a lot of people talking about JT Daniels, rightfully so. He's an outstanding quarterback, but Zamir White in the backfield, he is one of the best running backs in the SEC. And going to next season, I could see him being probably the 2nd best. Who knows? He could even compete to be the best running back in the SEC next year. He's still got a ton of room to improve. He's got huge potential going to next season. Backfield is not going to be an issue at all. They got Georgia's got both of their top running backs from last year coming back, and that includes obviously Zamir White, who put up 800 yards, 11 touchdowns last year for the Bulldogs. So this is another huge reason for this team just to think that they could easily make a deep run. You got a great running back core. Honestly, this offense in general is looking outstanding. Their defensive side is also looking great. There are a couple of losses on there from 2020 to 2021, but offensively, yeah, this team is extremely talented and loaded at just about every single position. So I think, Zamir White is another huge part of this team and is criminally underrated. Number 5 is going to be Kirby Smart. Can't forget about your head coach. He has got a tremendous amount of experience heading into his 6th season with the Bulldogs. He's had a ton of success with Georgia, 52-14 overall record as head coach. Obviously, he did lead Georgia to a national championship game in 2017. Didn't quite win it, unfortunately. I mean, for Georgia, even I was hoping they'd knock off Alabama in that game, but didn't quite happen. It was very close, though. I think Kirby Smart definitely is capable of leading a team like Georgia to a national championship or even a victory in a national championship game. I could easily see Georgia doing so next season, but I mean, he led Georgia to New Year's 6 bowl games over the past 3 seasons as well, and that does not include 2017 when, of course, they were in a New Year's 6 bowl game and also went to the national championship. So, yeah, Kirby Smart, huge part of this team. Coaches, I mean, he's outstanding recruiter as well. I mean, for him, I mean, that's been a huge part of his success is the recruiting. And, I mean, moving forward, it looks like it's just going to keep getting better. So, Georgia, if I'm being totally honest with you, I mean, Florida's a great team, but I think Georgia next season is definitely my favorite to win the SEC East. Florida last season, I did call that Florida would be better than Georgia last year, but this year it's a different story. I think Georgia with JT Daniels and this team in general should be able to be definitely in the running to be in the college football playoff or even in the national championship. I mean, of course, they got to get past Alabama first. I mean, if you don't get past Alabama, your chances of being in the college football playoff are pretty slim. But this is a team with a tremendous amount of potential. Should be fun to watch. Let me know your thoughts and comments below, though, on Georgia. And if you enjoyed this video, slap a like on it, subscribe as well, as it does help out the channel, and I'd really appreciate that as well. But once again, appreciate you guys all watching. Stay tuned for more from All Sports Central. I'll see you guys later.